case of State versus Camillo is on point with regard to that issue, and it ultimately determines and states that mere refusal to follow an officer's orders without some type of physical act is not a violation of the obstruction statute. It requires that obstruction be by means of flight, intimidation, force, violence, or physical interference or obstacle. Here, none of those conditions existed. The obstruction statute requires a physical interference, not merely an interference. Criminalizing the type of conduct committed by the defendant in this case must come from the legislature, not from the courts. Consequently, we reverse and vacate defendant's conviction. Simply refusing to identify yourself as part of an investigation from law enforcement would not form the basis of a violation of the obstruction statute.
Hello everyone. Recently, I beat a false arrest, and so can you if you have the courage. Southeastern PA and I were charged with defiant trespass and obstruction for failing to ID. Although we knew we were innocent, we had to live with this case hanging over our heads for a long time, approximately 16 months, 11 of which without recording devices, as they were held from us by police. Here is a full account of the criminal case, including the outcome in court. Hello, how are you doing? Yeah, we're here to get a public records request form. We need some information here about the inmates and how many people are housed here
In the sheriff's office.
each year, and we need to know.
Are you recording me?
Oh yes, always. I always record everything and go around.
Let me call you back. I don't know, some guy. Let me call you back.
And we got a bus that comes in.
So, do you guys have a public information officer here today that we could speak to? Somebody that could talk to the press? No? Do you know what hours that person would be here?
Monday through Friday.
Monday through Friday? Is there 8 to 4? Okay. All right, cool.
So this is the entrance to the prison or to the sheriff's office? Because I was hoping to get to the
Is the
sheriff.
lieutenant around?
Yo, man, how can that phone be?
Where's the entrance to the sheriff's office?
Where's the sheriff's office at?
It's downtown Salem.
Downtown Salem? Oh, social distance yourself, sir. Social distance. Please.
Hold on, guys.
Social
My name
distance.
is Sergeant Jones. What's going on?
We just wanted to come in and talk to a PIO and get a public records request. If the PIO isn't here, if the PIO isn't
Because
here,
there's no cell phone.
we need paperwork. We just document everything that we do. We're not trying to go anywhere else in here.
This is a public lobby, so just relax.
This is a county facility paid for by the
Stop
people.
lying.
Listen.
Okay, we don't
There's
like
no
liars.
cell phone usage in our facility because I don't know if you guys have seen it.
I don't have a cell-
I know everybody's paranoid about cameras
It has
and
nothing to do with
right.
Corona. It has nothing to do with cameras. There's just one of our policies is there's no cell phone usage in the lobby. Has nothing to do with what's going
In the
on
lobby.
right
Can
now.
I get that in writing? 'Cause I don't see
Yeah,
that.
because in the lobby, because we
So this is what
know
you
that
guys-
that's not
I
true.
understand in there, yes. We're not going in there.
We're not trying to be confrontational or anything. We don't want this to be an argument. I'm coming here. I'm asking for paperwork that I can fill out for a public records request.
Okay.
I have.
That can be done Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Our administrative staff will be here.
Okay, gotcha.
So
Gotcha.
you're more than welcome to request any type of paperwork, documentation, especially if you've been
Right.
incarcerated here. You can request that. But
Right,
to
right, right.
come in and to record our officer is improper, and we're asking
came up
you
to us.
not to do that.
It's our job.
But sir, we do
Then
not
you better be
have-
prepared to be on film then. 1, 2, 3.
And look, we're not here for a confrontation. I'm here for information.
Okay.
We're
And
doing
I'm
a
giving you
story.
that information. I'm giving you that
All right,
information.
right.
I'm in here to get some information.
I'm glad it cooled down a little bit. Everybody was, a little frisky at first, but
Can we talk to one person at a time just so I can understand what you're requesting?
Go ahead.
What we're saying, sir, is that you are more than welcome to request any records, any documents, especially pertaining to yourself. That needs to be done between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. As far as the sheriff's department goes, that is downtown, and I'm not sure what they can help you with, but I'm sure they can help you with more than what we can do. We are a correctional facility where we house.
Right, okay. So a question of mine would be there's no way I can obtain readily available public record here today
No.
through the Oprah Act
No, we don't have that available for you right now. That's a process. You know, you put in the request, and then of course the department that handles those records specific for whatever it is you're asking, they will get those records to you. We don't do that here.
Okay, all right.
Now, what we also are asking about the phone is the reason we don't use any cell phone. We don't use cell phones in here at all. That's why we're asking you to turn the cell phone on and not to use your cell phone.
Well, we got the information that you guys gave us right here, right now, and we'll take that into consideration. We'll visit the sheriff's office. We'll have a talk with them about that.
Okay.
We had a lot of questions for you guys. It's a shame that we can't get any answers.
Well, I'm sorry that we don't have
Today?
any answers for you today.
Okay.
I'm sure Monday through Friday someone will be able to help you, or at least lead you in the direction where you need to go to get that help.
All right, thanks a lot.
Okay?
Thanks a lot, Jones.
Thank you. All right.
You done here? Or? I know I am here.
Today.
The public lobby, I know we're allowed filming.
I know it too, and we're going to scope this place out a little bit.
Walk down here, I guess. This is the water department. This is all public land. This is all the borough of Woodstown. They have a little park here.
Yeah, I want to see what this park is about. Let's go check it out. What's this?
Yeah, you see that rock there?
Yeah. Oh, this is the 9/11 Memorial Park that we saw the sign for. Okay. So we're here visiting the 9/11 Memorial Park, and we have these people coming up. We're filming. This park belongs to the correctional facility. We're videotaping our park. We're videotaping our park, the 9/11 Memorial Park. It's here for people to view and see, right? We've got these beams here. We have a rock from Shanksville over there, and we're trying to record it. Can we not do
Stop
that?
interfering with our story.
So now they're claiming that this park is theirs, and we can't film our park. Our park.
Lowest form of humanity. I got it on tape.
Is this is this correctional facility property right here? Yes? No? County property, which means it belongs to the people of the county, right?
Correct. But
So- that facility.
Secured perimeter.
Well, what?
You are in violation of federal law.
We're the fences, right?
Anytime you film
Put it on
the
paper.
secured perimeter of the
We know you're
facility,
full of
that's against
shit.
the law.
You're full of crap.
Put a big brick wall around it. That's what big prisons do.
Hide it. This is public land. This is Woodstown Borough. This is their township building. This is their emergency centers. Okay? There's road right here. It says no. It doesn't say no trespassing. Doesn't say do not enter. It's a public road, public park. You want to keep on opening your stupid mouth to the world?
Do not video in the lobby, yet you videoed in the lobby.
For the world to
Who's
see
not
your
reading
stupidity.
It can say don't video in the lobby. I've seen false signs before.
Keep
You
talking.
print it on a piece of paper and you tape it to the door doesn't mean it's law. You guys gotta understand that, man. Like,
Keep showing your ignorance and stupidity to the world.
we're in a free country here. This is America. We're not in the country of the scared. We're in the home of the brave, okay?
Oh, okay.
I'm sure there's a
We're not
task
too
for every
worried.
one of you inside that
not
correctional
too
facility
worried.
right now.
We'll
Can
be
you
right
please get back
here.
to work and leave us alone?
Okay, rapey.
So before I was interrupted, I was filming these beams from the towers that dropped in Manhattan. They have them here for everybody to come and remember the tragedy that happened on September 11th, 2001. Now, that one even has like spray paint on it and stuff still, which is pretty cool. And here's your tax dollars at use right there. Everybody just standing around, try to come out and bully people away from their park. They should be ashamed of themselves, all 5 of them. Cowards.
You can't visit the park, sir.
Can't visit the park, sir. Yes, I can visit the park. What are you talking about? I can't visit the park.
I said you can. I said no one ever told you you couldn't visit the park.
Okay?
No one said you couldn't.
but I can't film it.
You cannot walk around our facility and video the secure perimeter of the facility.
Sure I can.
That is what we told you.
I'm in the public. You cannot trespass the eyes. Anything that you can see and view, you can record. It is up to you guys to create your own privacy. You know the plastic slats that go through this chain link? Throw them up. You can't see in there.
Too busy raping people. Don't worry about
Fuck
these jackasses.
I have to educate these five grown 11-year-olds. I have to educate these people. This is the guy we saw earlier, so he's somebody to do it here. He's pulling up hot.
He did.
Morning, gentlemen.
We don't want to talk to you, bro. It's okay. You're good. You can go back and finish your day.
Can I ask you why you're filming?
We're recording our park. I will give you that much. Our beautiful park. We had a story on the prison.
Costing us.
Well, hold on.
Who? What is your name, though, first? I don't know who I'm talking
I
to.
will absolutely identify myself.
Please do,
Before
first.
we do that,
No,
I'm
first.
going to control the conversation.
Oh, no, I'm asking the questions.
So I just want to let you know, guys, if you go on the property, we're going to have to call the state.
Are we on the property here?
You're not.
So why? So tell these to leave, please.
Listen, I can't have you filming the correctional facility.
Then build a wall.
Put slats in the
I
gate.
mean, my God.
What the?
Yeah, okay, goodbye.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're not welcome, jackass. Thank God we got all this on film, because here come the lies.
Did they ever give you an indication on why they were here or what they were looking
They're
to do?
trying to request the Oprah Act, request information, because right. I believe the young boy's been here before. He does look familiar.
Yeah, he doesn't look familiar to me, but
They told them that they could get that information.
But they went all the way down this side, filmed, and came down this side to film.
right.
And then when we came out, they walked over to us.
We have a lurker, guys.
I got his license plate when he first pulled up.
Good. All right. So we're just sitting here. We're waiting for the 468 bus to arrive. And we have our lurker who wants to find out where we're going, man. He wants to know where we go.
Yes, this is Deputy Warden Riley, Salem County Correctional Facility. I'm requesting a unit over to the correctional facility, no emergency. I have two gentlemen who trespassed into our facility. And
what's the address?
The address is going to be 125 Cemetery Road.
Thank you, I'm sorry.
What township?
Mannington.
Mannington Township.
What's going on there?
So we had two gentlemen come onto the grounds. They're videotaping and recording the...
Okay, what's your name again?
This is Deputy Warden Riley, and it's the Salem County Correctional Facility.
And it was two males?
It's two males. They're walking west toward Route 45 on Cemetery Road.
Okay, we have a trooper coming out.
Sovereign citizens, right?
Yes. That's how they're acting. That's how they're acting.
Exactly what it is. Yeah. I could tell.
Were you guys trying to press charges or anything? Like,
No, I mean, we don't have to, especially in light of the COVID-19 virus.
I hear you.
Did they identify themselves?
negative.
No, of course not. They
Weren't trying to do any of that. I mean, I was trying to figure out if they were like trying to be some kind of danger to anything, but they're not really giving too much information. They said they were looking for public record, asked for a PIO, public record
information.
Yeah,
They said
so-
the whole Oprah thing, as you know, that's all. You got to make requests, official requests.
I mean, I understand that, but
They're aware of that.
They're in the wrong area.
Want to
for
poke
this.
buttons?
They're looking for the sheriff. They're looking for the sheriff's office. They wouldn't tell us how they got here. The one guy said he parachutes in. I said, all right, that's cool.
They live in the area.
Where's
though.
your parachute?
They slipped up twice by saying they pay taxes here, and then all of a sudden, oh, we don't live in the state. So,
Asked them where they were going. They said they were waiting for the bus. Wouldn't tell me where they were going. So, this is the other warden now.
He's a deputy
warden.
He actually engaged him once our sergeant inside called. We both lived within 5 minutes from here. He rolled over here and they were actually along the building to take recording. I
mean, we have obviously a public safety concern, who they are. I mean, are they white supremacists and, you know, they want to...
They said they were journalists, but they wouldn't say for who.
So the journalists doing an investigation, but wouldn't say for who or for what reason.
Yeah, they were looking for public records about it.
I mean, other than saying that they're going to be charged, they'd have to produce identity if we're going to charge them, but of course they're probably going to resist you.
Absolutely.
Then you're probably going to have to go hands-on.
Yes.
You're going to have to take them back, you know. And with all this going on with the virus, I hate to get to that level. I just really like to know who they are, so we have intel on them. I don't know if is there another way we can go about that, or
as of right now, no.
I can make a call to, you know, are you familiar with Sergeant Bobbitt?
Yeah.
He's on right now. I mean, I can see what he says.
Is he on the desk?
He is.
0775?
Yeah. I can make the call if you like.
That's all right. This way, we can all be on the same page, on to repeat. I would tell them at least to stay back, right?
Yeah, we did.
Come walk up to you. But
So we still have this guy over here with his flashers on. And then we have this guy who we don't know who he is. He was a creeper down here. They have these cool little cannons. No, we're going to go take a look at these cannons over here. Take some video of these cannons. Static displays. They're nice. They're cool. People like that stuff.
So you're not waiting for the bus anymore?
Yeah, we'll see when the... Oh, comes the bus. We'll get the next one.
You need something?
You have reached New Jersey State Police, Woodstown Station. If this is the police department,
you want to call them on yourself?
Yeah. If you want, we can meet you over by,
Yeah, we'll see. Oh, there's the comes the bus. We'll get the next one.
we're cemetery, huh?
Just a cemetery.
Yeah.
where's he going? Wow. Getting aggravated. Kazuki, his name is? I don't want to see that.
Look at this freaking creeper. Look at this guy.
Good. I like the way you're taking pictures of yourself.
Cool.
Good.
Awesome. Are you drunk? Are you drunk, sir? And is that guy drunk over there? This guy over here?
Yes, sir. No problem, sir.
This is ridiculous. Look, and that's improper backing. Improper backing and turning. That is a statute for that, sir. All right, the saga's not over, guys.
Hey, sir. We're out here with Mr. Kazuki.
Not a problem, sir.
Yes, he informed us these two guys are out here recording everything. They're kind of acting like sovereign citizens. Won't give us any information or anything like that. Okay. Not giving us really any information. He was wondering what you thought, how we should go about it. Yeah, they denied it. Yeah, Fourth Amendment right, they said. They're just walking around trying to record everything, saying they're journalists. Won't tell me where they're journalists at. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they're recording everything we're doing. Yeah, I mean, they were actually looking for the sheriff's office. And that's obviously not this place. I told them where the sheriff's office was if they really wanted to go. And that was about it. So they were like, all right, thank you, everything. I said, where are you guys headed? Just since you guys are waiting for the bus, and they wouldn't tell me. They got all offended, whatever. Yeah. Just let them be. Let them be and keep them out of the facility, right? Yeah, I mean, they're bored and just walking around looking for trouble, so. Okay. Yeah. Alright, so I'll pass that word along. Yeah. Alright. Alright. Okay. Sounds good, sir. Alright, sir, so basically what Sergeant Bob was saying, here's Lieutenant Work now. Obviously you don't want them recording in the facility.
Yeah.
They're not in there now.
Right.
As long as we leave them alone out here, should probably just clear up.
Yeah.
If they try to go back in there,
Yeah,
deny them.
yeah, we would.
Besides that fact, he was saying we're probably just making their day right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is what they want. They want the
down by the
publicity.
Man, are they out of control?
So the cops said, you're not waiting for the bus anymore? I said, oh, we'll catch the next one. Well, the bus said no passengers. So this is a Veteran Memorial Cemetery Park. And they have these old cannons here, which are pretty cool. Old tires. Look at that, man.
Sovereign citizens.
Wouldn't give us our IDs. Wouldn't give us names. Said they were from. They said they were journalists. Wouldn't tell me from where. They slipped and told them.
Then they said they're not from this state, but then they slipped and said, "Oh, we pay taxes here. We have the right to be in the public area, so on and so forth." Whatever. He just wants to ID them. Fourth and
So I'm
foremost.
going to let them walk. I just want to try to get them identified. I'm going to send them pictures to the rock too.
All right, I'm going to send this one out right now.
Yeah, actually, let me send you another one. There's a younger guy traveling with him. Maybe it'll make sense to somebody.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
One in the 50s, other in
All right, the state police are here. We're good there. We just want to try to get them identified.
Okay.
All right. We got it. I ran up on took some pictures and back. I know. Yeah, but he's going to get involved a little bit. It's not free game just because, where else are they going to go and do the same crap? They're going to continue. Right. Let's see if we can get them ID first.
Did they say how they got here?
by bus.
One guy said by parachute.
So they came in the jail, and they were told to leave, right?
Yeah,
they didn't.
You got it for trespass if you want. I mean, it's enough.
Damn.
Yeah, but I mean, you're gonna have to charge with resistance. Hey, Sheriff.
Hey, what's going on?
They say that they want
No, no, sir.
They didn't say that they were.
They want.
So,
I don't care that they're overseas.
What's their purpose? They're just saying they have a right to be here. The jail is public property.
So they're journalists.
Journalists.
Looking for public records.
Looking for public records, the whole sovereign.
Don't just say fucking out of it.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of, we're going to err on the side of caution and not go, because the troopers would have to go hands-on with them, I'm sure. My bigger thing is to try to identify them. So I snuck up on them and took a picture of both of them. The one young kid put his hand in front of his face, but I'm sending them to AJ now to see if any of the local guys recognize him. All right, I gotta go so I can get this taken care of. I'll call you back.
So you know if any more of the property is actually down the road here?
It's all
going to be.
Next will be the school.
The tech.
Boat tech. It's all government.
All right, looks like they're going down.
Let's pass the white shack here.
That's part of the cemetery. And then the prosecutor's trailer's in the back. You might want to make sure they just don't. Not that they want to break in anything with you guys here, but that's where the undercover detectives and all work. Hey Rob, we're good. Why don't you can go ahead and take her back. Yeah, I see him. The trooper's got an eyeball on him. No, we're good, thank you. Katrina, if you can just write a report, that would be helpful. All right, I got their pictures. Hopefully we can identify them. The younger white kid put his hand in front of his face. All right, why don't you do this? Without getting too close, roll Katrina past. Just slow up, not too close, but see if she can identify him. All right, see.
You see him anymore? I see him.
I'd say let's go hook him up. I would say once you take these steps, once you say, hey, that's identify yourself, verify that you're who you say you are, you have freedom to be on the camera. If you want to identify yourselves, you're going to get arrested. You know, I would definitely stage your steps so that you're squared away for it. You do have to go around. Well, actually, you guys have your OC already. I would try to keep your hands off them in case they have the virus. They definitely look like they'd be the type of, as you know, addicts have less immune systems during this time. The younger kid to me looked like from my experience, he's an addict. So you gotta be careful. I don't know. Let's see, I had her go roll past in the SWAT. She said the younger kid has been in our jail before. At least she thought he is. Let's see if she can identify. What's your picture? Overall, you're right. I can't tell you.
I mean, if you're good with the trespassing, I don't mind charging with the trespassing.
But it's going to escalate.
Then that's what happens. If not, this is going to just continue, and it's not a free pass because the environment we're in.
No, I hear you. And I'm not really saying that it's because of the COVID-19. I just don't know if it's really worth the fact that we're just trying to get probably get a lawsuit out of somebody. As you know, we're not afraid of that. Is it worth it?
Down there by the cattail, that tall grass.
Think the Rock would do any type of facial on him, the older guy?
They might. I don't know how long it would take. Yeah, but I don't want to stand around on the side of the road and wait try to just loop around for an hour for somebody to try to identify him. I'd rather go ahead and move forward and all.
Oh, he's good.
How many times were we told to leave before we finally did?
I think it was a couple.
I'm done. We're hooking them up.
Right down there. And
What the hell is going on here?
And then get lost in the woods. You want to?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're back.
Yeah, we should. Let's just go right this way.
Back down over that.
Yeah. I think that's where the park is. Well, I still have cops and weird shit happening here.
Let's walk back down the water.
Yeah.
They might think we're going back over to the prison.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you need? Need help with something?
Oh, hey, Lieutenant. Good afternoon.
Look, you guys, in the jail where you don't belong, you have no business being there. We need to identify
We We had
You were
this,
told to leave a couple of times.
and we
So
left.
What we're going to need to do.
We left.
You didn't leave right away. They had to ask you a couple of times. So what we're going to need to do is we need to identify you.
That's not how it works.
And if you don't want to identify yourselves, then
You could take a picture of me and put it up inside your lobby and
No,
say
that's
this
not what
guy's
we're doing.
trespass. That's how you do that.
That's not what we're doing.
This
So
is
tell me how the law works.
no. I know how the law works. I do this all the time.
So now we need to identify.
When
you.
didn't we
No,
leave?
no.
You want to see on film?
A
We have it on
trespass
film.
warning
You can
and a
either identify
trespass.
yourself.
This is not a criminal
You
trespass.
can either identify yourself or not identify yourself. You don't identify.
Are we being detained for a crime right now?
Yes.
What is the crime? No, what is the crime?
I don't have
All right,
to
all
tell
right.
you.
I'm under arrest.
Under arrest right here.
State versus Daniel Towns and State versus Brian Wolf.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Nikki Arbiter on behalf of the state.
Thank you very much. As you're aware, Ms. Prosecutor, Mr. Glansberg, on behalf of the defendants, has filed a petition for return of property. He cites in the petition that the state confiscated and is still in possession of 5 separate items identified. I guess there's a evidence number because they're identified in the petition as CM01, which is one black GoPro camera, CM02, one black Canon Vixia HFR80, CM03 is one black iPhone with rubber case, CM04, one blue Android phone with red case.
That's mine.
And item CM05 identified as one black iPhone. He has cited cases. The case that he cited to the court in the petition is State versus Pratt. Again, the site is 90
U.S. versus Pratt.
3D 266, a 2019 case, and Mr. Glansberg has already also referred to and cited a couple of cases, including State versus Mitchell, which are included in the body of that decision. And do you have any case law that you wish me to review, or are you going to just make an argument against return of the property in the face of those cases?
Yes, Your Honor. I'm just going to make a verbal.
Okay. Mr. Glansberg is indicating that those cases provide that the property should be returned under the circumstances, and I'll certainly listen to counter argument.
Judge, would you like me to argue first, or?
Yeah, if you want to just outline exactly your...
Outline my argument on the record, sure. My argument is very simple, Judge. My clients were arrested, and we allege unconstitutionally on March 21st of 2020. As a result of that arrest, the government confiscated the items outlined in my petition. They are not contraband. They are not evidence. The state has requested my clients provide passwords, which we have refused to do. This is 9 months ago. The state has not sought a search for that information. Therefore, the only assumption 9 months after is that they don't intend to use it and they're just holding it. Therefore, we're entitled to it back. And if you look at Pratt and the other cases in there, they talk about 21 days. They talk about under a month.
35 gets your shit back. 35's too much.
Absolutely nothing.
It was March, so this would be 10 months now.
10 months. Math was never a strong suit. Right? 10 months. They're talking days. We're talking months here. There's no reason for it. It's not our obligation to provide them passwords. It is not our obligation to help them prosecute themselves. Return the property. There's no reason for them to have it at this point. It's not contraband. I'm not asking for them to return a kilo of cocaine.
And in response, Ms. Prosecutor?
Thank you, Your Honor. So the state doesn't intend to use the evidence.
Yeah, he did good. He did real good.
The testimony of the officers and whatever videos that we have with regard to body cams, the state police that were provided to Mr. Glansberg will be used at the time of trial. The state's concern, quite frankly, in this case, simply because the defendants, and the reason why we're here today is because the defendants attempted to videotape and basically breach the security of the Salem County jail.
No, we didn't.
The concern of the state police why they didn't want to turn it over. They wanted passwords, not simply to use it as evidence, but basically to make sure that the videos are not displayed publicly, so that we're violating security protocols at the jail. That is why they were told to stop. They were told to stop videoing. They refused to do it. They refused to leave the property, and that's why we're here today.
May I respond briefly to that? Very simply, my clients are reporters. They went into the prison as part of the reporting. They were told they can't be there. They turned around and left. They crossed the street. They then walked about a half a mile away to a bus stop. They were stopped at the bus stop. And because they refused to give their names and show identification, a lieutenant who was off duty, after speaking with the warden, and the warden didn't even want to prosecute this case, they said, unless they give me ID, I'm locking them up. And that's exactly what he did. Now, if you're saying about the security of Salem County, come on. I can go on Google Earth and find out more about Salem County. There's nothing in the entranceway to Salem County Jail, because I've been there, I'm sure you guys have. There's a security risk here. And anything outside of the perimeter of the prison, because you can only go in the front door and out. You can't go around the grounds. Anything else can be seen from Google Earth. So that is a specious argument to give this court for not returning iPhones and cameras at this point. And if it was such a high security risk, they should have gotten a search warrant. They should have done something. There's nothing. They want to just be a nuisance to my client. Like this cases, but that's besides the point.
Ms. Trump, for instance, if we had had a trial on these matters, say today, and even if the defendants were found guilty, what would the state be in regard to the continued retention of these items?
The state would be requesting that we are at least able to destroy the video of the jail, to provide the passwords, destroy the video of the inside of the prison. You can't use Google Earth to get information about the inside of a jail. And these are cameras that were videoing the inside of the jail. No matter how much of it or how little of it, it was still the inside of the jail.
But the argument from the defendant is that if there is a serious concern from the state about this security issue, to confirm that there's something there and then make an argument that it should remain in the property of the state, wouldn't something have had to have been done by now? I mean, I did read the State versus Pratt case, and it is very concerned with the expediency with regard to retention of defendant's property. It's been 10 months, and if there's an allegation that there's something contained in the property that's being held that is somehow detrimental to security, it should have been fleshed out by now, I would think, either, with an application for a search warrant within the first, say, month that the property was retained. Then it could have been, if the search warrant was granted, the information could have been reviewed. If the state was satisfied that there was some type of security issue that existed, then the appropriate application could have been made. But here we are 10 months later, and we're somewhat speculating as to what may or may not be on those devices and whether or not it actually possesses or poses some type of security problem.
Correct. And I can't disagree with that. And quite honestly, I don't know what the state police's intention were, why they didn't get the warrant. I understand that they attempted to get the password. Mr. Glamberg at first refused to actually say yes or no. I had emailed Mr. Glamberg a couple times asking for the password, and he didn't respond to those initial emails. Ultimately, he did. It had been months later. And then I think the state police just didn't take any further action on it, to be quite honest.
Understood. All right. I did read the cases that are cited by defense counsel. I'm satisfied that they're on point, at least on point enough for me to grant the petition in order that the property be returned. The cases that are cited are somewhat on point. They don't argue that there's a security issue. I guess that's the little rub, the little difference in this particular case. But I don't think that the state can simply continue to sit on these items without doing something more. I do think that since now 10 months have elapsed and nothing has progressed, that the defendants under these circumstances are entitled to return of that property pursuant to the direction of the court in State versus Pratt and the other cases cited therein.
Thank you, Your Honor. How does my client go about getting this property back then? Where is it? We don't even know where it is.
The prosecutor, is that with the state police?
I believe it is. I will talk to them what the proper procedure is. My guess is, in light of various issues, that perhaps Mr. Glansman or somebody from his office can come get it. I think that would be the more appropriate way of dealing with this.
To expedite that process or to give something that will make the state police comfortable, if you could reduce my determination down to a concise order, not too wordy, indicating that your petition to return that property was granted, I could sign that so that there would be no gray area with regard to the state.
Well, will you prepare the order, Judge?
If you could, that would be good.
Well, let me ask you, I can even make it even simpler. I would ask, and if Your Honor would allow, can the property, since there are only cameras and an iPhone, be dropped off at the court and I can pick it up at the court? That way I don't have to deal with the police. My clients don't have to deal with the police, and my clients can go to the courthouse and pick it up.
In order to proximity, the prosecutor can respond.
I would prefer that it would be either Mr. Glansman or somebody from his
Prefer.
office picking it up, regardless of where the location is.
That's fine. I'll arrange somebody from my.
I think it's probably prudent to go to where it is being held as evidence. That way, if there's a contention that there's somehow a tampering or damage or something to those items, that it was not done in transport.
No problem. If you can just, I don't know where to go. You can just contact.
It will be the Woodstown State Police Barracks. I will need a name of the individual picking it up so that I can notify the state police that it will be that specific person that they're turning it over to.
Yeah, I'm here to pick up property. Yes.
Oh, good. We don't have to wear masks. Oh, good. Good job, buddy.
I was talking to Detective Fioretti, and he had property here waiting for us. 5 items. 3 cell phones, a GoPro, and a camcorder.
Just take a seat, all right? I'll go talk.
Thank you.
You just sign the receipts quickly. Bring it out.
All right, thanks.
Now I gotta wear my mask now.
So right there. Yeah, we only have to wear it when we get in close contact, otherwise.
Oh, brother.
I know.
It's a shame it's a facade, huh? It really is a shame.
I'll be right back.
How many pieces you got? 5, right?
Whatever's in the bags.
Let me get that for you. There you go. Alrighty.
Thank you, sir.
Alright. Here's the property we stole from you.
This is what you had.
We held it so long it turned into dog shit.
Turned into fossil fuels. Oh, man.
Say something. I see something and say something all the time. I tell them there's domestic terrorists kidnapping people off the streets, and they hang up on me. Okay? All right? I call 1-866-4-SAFE New Jersey, and it's hilarious. It's absolutely crazy.
All right.
Here's your copies.
Great, thank you.
DL.
Appreciate that.
I see my
And our properties here.
I see my other.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you so much. What's your name and badge number, sir?
Havlicek.
Havlicek.
8444.
Thanks, Havlicek. Appreciate it.
Yep. All right.
Well, there we go. After a year.
Yeah, it took about a year. Not bad.
And on behalf of the state, your appearance, please.
Good morning, Your Honor. Nikki Arbitier on behalf of the state.
Good morning, Your Honor. David Blanford on behalf of the defendants in this matter, Mr. Taus and Mr. Wolf.
Great. And 2 weeks ago, we did have trial testimony. Both sides rested and made arguments. Case law was submitted in support of the arguments, and the matter was continued to today for me to absorb all that information and make a decision with regard to the charges, which I am now prepared to do. I've already gone over what the charges were. The state did call witnesses, obviously, in support of the charges. The state called Officer Naima Hicks. Initially, she testified that relevant to the charges on March 21st, 2020, which was a Saturday, she was serving in her role as a sheriff's officer at the Salem County Jail, and the defendants came to the facility.
This chick.
It was not marked as no trespassing area, generally open to the public. They came to the front door in order to get in and access to the jail area where Officer Hicks was. You need to be buzzed in. Testimony was that she allowed.
She buzzed me in.
Buzzed them in. They entered. Both defendants entered the correctional facility, and they started requesting records pursuant to Oprah. And the Officer Hicks, advised them that she was unable to comply with any Oprah request, that was not the facility, it was not her role to provide that information. She instructed them to return to the appropriate facility during business hours. And during this time, both defendants had devices, a cell phone, and I think the testimony was there was a camera that Mr. Towles had, and they were recording while they were in the facility. Officer Hicks testified that there is signage in the lobby area where this was occurring, indicating that you cannot record anything, or there was no cell phone usage more specifically. So Officer Hicks advised the defendants that they could not use their cell phones, but the defendants continued to do so, indicating that they had a right to record. There was no restriction against that. The officer was uncomfortable, concerned perhaps for security reasons, and so she called her sergeant. Officer Hicks clarified or testified and then confirmed on cross-examination that she never advised either Mr. Wolf or Mr. Towles to leave the facility. The sergeant who was summoned to address the situation was Katarina Jones, and she did testify as well. She testified that she's been a Salem County Correctional Officer for over 23 years. She came at the request of Officer Hicks to investigate what was going on, and she was concerned about a security breach because of the recording that the defendants were doing. Again, the defendants insisted that they had a right to record.
Southeast PAO.
And they maintained that they were there to get records. Apparently they were confused, the defendants were, with regard to where they were. They
Sorry about
did
the
not realize
shakiness,
that they were
guys.
at the jail. I think they believed they were at an administrative facility where they would be able to get a response to an Oprah request. But again, Sergeant Jones confirmed that the location was not where records would be provided, and she instructed the defendants to return to the appropriate facility during business hours, Monday through Friday. Again, this was a Saturday. The defendants continued to use their cell phones despite being advised that they could not. The sergeant was concerned, Sergeant Jones, because she recognized, or thought she recognized one of the defendants. She did not specify which one. Was a relative of someone who was either a current or former inmate. So again, there were these concerns with regard to a security breach that had her concerned, obviously, about that. The defendants did leave the area, the lobby where all of this was taking place. The testimony from both Officer Hicks and Officer Jones was they were in that lobby area while this interaction was taking place for approximately 5 minutes. When they left the facility, they went out to the parking lot area and apparently walked around the perimeter and continued to hold their cell phones up as if they were recording the perimeter. And again, this had Officer Jones concerned for a potential breach of security. So she called in additional officers. And ultimately, the state police were also contacted to investigate what was transpiring. She did confirm that she advised the defendants to leave. My notes reflect she never asked the defendants to leave until the end. So there was a lot of dispute, if you will, concern with regard to them recording, and they're continuing to do so. but with regard to their being directed to leave, they were not advised to do that until the end of this situation. So the argument then follows that there was no defiant trespassing as the defendants were charged because there was no signage prohibiting them from being on the location. Initially, they were having these interactions with the officers and not being told to leave, rather they were being told not to record. And when they were ultimately told in no uncertain terms that you have to leave the property, they apparently complied. There was no testimony that there was a repeated urging or instruction to leave the area. Rather, just after this sort of escalated and they wouldn't stop filming, they would not leave the premise, or they and it wouldn't stop, and they were told to leave the premises after all that. They did leave the area. So that was the testimony from the two witnesses that actually witnessed the interaction as it pertained to the trespassing charge, count one of both complaints. The remaining testimony was from the warden, Mr. Kazupi. He testified with regard to his involvement, and I'll get into that a little bit more, as did the responding troopers, Trooper Mistretta, who was also the complainant for both charges. It was Trooper Mistretta that ultimately was the complainant for these offenses. And also, he was with Trooper Bogan. And then ultimately, Captain Quirk appeared and was involved in the investigation. But with regard to the trespassing charge, all of those additional witnesses that testified didn't actually witness the perceived trespassing. Rather, they were called in after the defendants had left the area. There's videotape that was introduced, or video, I should say, not tape. There's video that was introduced and marked into evidence with regard to the troopers' investigation. And by that time, the defendants clearly were not trespassing. They were at a bus stop. They had an interaction with regard to the troopers, with why they were there, those sorts of things. The defendants state in that video that when they were told to leave, that they did. So with regard to the trespassing charge, as I've already stated, the testimony that came forth in trial was that they were told to leave one time after the situation had escalated, and that they did in fact leave. The troopers the trooper that issued the charge was advised by other individuals that they had been told to leave on several occasions. But that was not the trial testimony ultimately. The complaint reads that they were being charged with trespassing because they were ordered to leave by the correctional staff several times and subsequently failed to leave. But that is not actually what ultimately was testified to. The troopers, when they arrived, were being told by other individuals, not directly by Officer Hicks or Sergeant Jones, that they had been told to leave several times. But ultimately, the trial testimony did not confirm that. It was that there was the one time they were told to leave, and ultimately they did. Interestingly, the defendants were not charged with obstruction for the continued recording. It seems to me that they were prohibited from recording in that area. There was signage indicating that they could not use the cell phones, and they continued to do so despite the officers' instructions, not only in the facility, but then again when they went outside. And this is what rose the security issues for the officers and why the situation escalated, and there was a lengthy continued investigation. But the defendants were not charged with obstruction of the administration of law as it pertained to that particular issue. I thought they would have been, but again, there's only two charges. It's the trespassing charge, and the obstruction charge relates to them not identifying themselves, and I'll get into that a little bit more in a minute. So as it pertains to the trespassing charges, again, they were charged with that offense because the information that ultimately filtered down to the complaining trooper was that they had been told to leave on several occasions and did not, but the trial testimony supported that they were told to leave one time and that they did comply. So I do not find that the state proved the charge of trespassing beyond a reasonable doubt based on the trial evidence. The second charge for obstruction of the administration of law resulted because when the investigation began, and it's all captured on the video that was viewed and entered into evidence as S1, State Exhibit 1 for identification purposes. So once the state troopers got involved, the warden got involved, and then ultimately Captain Quirk got involved, all of that is recorded. And obviously there's a real concern for the law enforcement officers with regard to why they're videotaping. And they obviously want to find out why the defendants are there and what's going on. But the defendants indicate that they are under no obligation to provide their identification, and they don't. And ultimately, their failure to identify themselves as part of this investigation led to count 2 of the complaints, obstruction of the administration of law. Defense counsel submitted what I'll call the leading case, if you will, as it pertains to what forms, what type of conduct forms the basis for a violation of the obstruction statute 2C29-1A, and that is the case of State versus John Camillo.
Thank you.
382 New Jersey Super 113.
Pay attention to this case law, guys.
And the decision is from 2005. And that decision talks at length about the history of the obstruction statute, how it became statutory law in 1979, I believe. It's my recollection, and it narrowed, if you will, what is a violation of the obstruction statute from what was previously common law. The common law obstruction was a broader law, and then the lawmakers codified obstruction by through statute 2C29-1A, and what that did was define more specifically what formed a violation of obstruction, and it has to be give me a moment. It has to be a violation. The conduct has to obstruct, impair, pervert the administration of law or other governmental function, or prevents or attempts to prevent a public servant from lawfully performing an official function by means of flight, intimidation, force, violence, or physical interference or obstacle. So it has to be some type of physical act pursuant to that portion of the statute, or by means of any independent unlawful act. The state is not maintaining that there is any independent unlawful act which would form a violation of the statute. Rather, it's the failure to provide information and follow up to the investigation that is the obstruction. And the case of State versus Camillo is on point with regard to that issue. And it ultimately determines and states that mere refusal to follow an officer's orders without some type of physical act is not a violation of the obstruction statute. The case concludes, and I'm citing from it, the language of NJSA 2C29-1A is clear. It requires that obstruction be by means of flight, intimidation, force, violence, or physical interference or obstacle. Here, none of those conditions existed.
Oh, it doesn't look good for her.
And the case concludes, we are mindful that the defendant's actions here did, in a very real way, interfere with the trooper's duties. Nevertheless, the obstruction statute requires a physical interference, not merely an interference. Criminalizing the type of conduct committed by the defendant in this case must come from the legislature, not from the courts. Consequently, we reverse and vacate defendant's conviction. So I think that case and that decision is pretty clear with that simply refusing to identify yourself as part of an investigation from law enforcement would not form the basis of a violation of the obstruction statute. So I have to be guided by that case, as I find it to be on point, since there was no independent physical act or violation of a specific law. I don't find that the defendants were in violation of the obstruction statute pursuant to the guiding case law. So that's the court's decision with regard to the charges. Again, the real issue was with regard to their ongoing recording of the facility and the potential security breach that provided, but ultimately the defendants were not charged with obstruction in that regard. So since that's not an issue before the court, obviously I'm not making a decision with regard to that. But with regard to the two charges that both defendants were charged with, I am finding them not guilty based on the evidence presented and the arguments made.
Bam!
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Mr. Glansberg, anything further for the record?
Nothing further, Your Honor. That concludes my business.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Have a great day.
Oh, she's gone too. She left real quick. All right.